Hey guys, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. I have another video for you guys today. Before we begin today's video, if you guys could, down below, hit the like button. Only takes a second to do. Helps the channel out so much. Also, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to receive more Cowboys content from me in the future. And alongside that, hit the notification bell so that when new content gets out, it drops into your sub box and you know when it does. So, this whole season has been an interesting one to say the least. We have seen, once this team kind of gets itself thrown into the fire and everything's falling apart, how each of the phases of our team, that being the front office, coaching staff, and players, react. And for me, it's been very hard to pinpoint what's the exact problem because they're all at fault pretty much. And it's just crazy to me how we sit here and we're staring down the barrel of a 3-13, 4-12 season, and we're just trying to find things to look forward to for next year. We know the season's over, and it's just crazy how things have gone with the injuries, certain scheme changes, and whatever the case may be. Now, I wanted to start off by talking about the front office. We'll go to the coaching staff and the play. Just basically giving my thoughts on why I think that this has been a problem. Like, who's the blame? Now, starting with the front office. Now, when I speak of the front office, I'm referring to three specific people. That's Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and Will McClay. All three of those people are primarily, in my opinion, responsible for the Dallas Cowboys acquiring players through free agency as well as the draft, and just being able to get players on this team for the coaching staff to utilize. Now, they have not done a good job in free agency. They've done a terrible job. Every single free agent class we've had for the longest time has been complete trash, okay? Now, we haven't had a premier free agent, and what I mean by that is us paying someone like top-level money since Greg Hardy. We gave him like a one-year, $10.5 million contract. That was the last time, and that was, what, 5-6 years ago? That was the last time we gave a free agent that kind of money. If you want to go back even further, Brandon Carr, and I think that was 2012 or 2013. I don't even remember. That's how long ago it was. Now, I'm not trying to insinuate we need to be big spenders in free agency. That's not what I'm trying to imply here. What I am trying to imply is that we need to do a lot better at putting resources into free agents, because when we have a situation where we're bargain basement shopping every single year and you're not getting a quality free agent, you're hoping to God your draft is flawless, because if your draft is even off by one hair, you're screwed. You know, and that kind of really showed this year. Your two premier, if you want to call them premier, your two top free agents were defensive tackles in Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe. Dontari Poe was complete trash, so he's gone. And then Gerald McCoy blew out his quad, and he wasn't able to play. So your two top free agents got screwed over. Well, one was just bad, the other just got hurt. So now basically you can negate both of those pickups. And the Cowboys didn't do anything in the draft to address the defensive tackle position. And who knows? I mean, because Tristan Hill was playing pretty well given the circumstances. And again, we don't know what the hell would happen. But that's a problem, right? And so I want to read you this quote by Stephen Jones, and when it came to, like, I guess, well, he was basically talking about why the Cowboys changing their scheme too aggressively is a bad thing or something like that. So he said the following: I think that the biggest that Mike McCarthy and Will McClay and Jerry and I have talked about is we were probably too aggressive on changing our scheme on defense. He said this on 105.3 The Fan. He then ended up going on saying, we ended up wanting to go with Kellen Moore as our offensive coordinator, and certainly made some changes that Mike is a big believer in. But for the most part, they were tweaks. A lot of the language is kept the same. I think the biggest thing would be maybe not diving in head first in changing a total change of our scheme. The Cowboys, obviously, and then it goes on, and then Jerry went on to say, I will say this, we've got, like anybody, You've got it. You've got a lot of do-overs. I'd like to start again on how we approached our defense this year. I'd like to start that over again. I'm sure everyone else would too. We're just not doing as well as we'd like with the multiple challenges that we've had, Mike McCarthy said. I'm glad to be a Dallas Cowboy. I love it here. This is a phenomenal opportunity. Make no mistake about it. This is not what we intended. This is not where we're going to stay. Now, staying with the front office point of view, before we get into the coaching staff, I can understand them not liking the rapid scheme change, but my thing is that, you know, even if there's supposed to be this scheme change, right? My problem is that Mike Nolan has not done a good job at adjusting, because, sure, going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 immediately is not going to pay dividends. I understand, unless, like, you have the ability to have a fantastic defensive coordinator, and that's the problem too. Mike Nolan is not that great of a defensive coordinator. I think that, and let's be honest, going into this year, I thought maybe he would be decent. You know, hey, if he's going to do a hybrid scheme that fits to everyone's mold, okay, that sounds good. But then as we saw, the defense was terrible. The offense was fine. So that doesn't mean we should have kept Rod Marinelli. By no means, absolutely not. I just think we needed to do a better evaluation process there, in my opinion. So when it comes to the front office, I do believe that and going with the coaching staff, I do believe there is going to be an interesting thing that happens. What happens with Mike Nolan? If Mike Nolan is to leave, I do think that would show that the front office has some say on what's going on. And if Mike Nolan stays on this team, it shows that, hey, Mike McCarthy, unless the coaching staff, or rather the front office, I should say, you know, gets somehow swayed. I do believe Mike Nolan is gone after this year. Do I think he should retain his job? No, he has not done a good job, even with this transition period, because it really shouldn't be this bad. We have had the worst defense in team history, and I am shocked that he was still able to retain his job for this long, given the circumstances that we're in. I don't care if people are hurt or not. You have healthy linebackers. You have hurt cornerbacks, but let's just be honest. The team's not playing well on defense. And you can attribute that to player talent, or you can attribute that to the scheme. I think it's a mix of both, but there's that. So let's move on to the coaching staff. So for me, we can't say the whole coaching staff is trash. I think we don't have enough evidence yet to say that's the case in certain regards. Because you look at the offensive side of the football, I do believe Joe Philbin, given the stuff he's been able to work with, I think he's done a solid job. Okay, you know, having people like Terrence Steele, you know, who we all want gone, to be looking somewhat decently over the past 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Then you have Connor McGovern, who's starting to develop quite nicely. What's his name? Tyler Biotish. He's done great too. So I don't want it to make it seem like, given the circumstances that we're in, I don't want to be the biggest downer, because Joe Philbin has done a fine job. Kellen Moore, he has pissed me off at times, I will admit. And there are times he goes into a turtle shell. But when we look at it this way, you know, Kellen Moore is here because Mike McCarthy wanted someone that understood Dak and basically could make Dak as comfortable as possible. You know, Kellen Moore's here to help fit, Dak's skill set. And when Dak was here, he was having a damn fine season. And I don't care if anyone was like, well, that's garbage time yards or this, that, and the third. I really don't care about that, because at the end of the day, Dak Prescott, even, you know, you're not out of a game ever. You know, and we saw that with the Atlanta game this year. So Dak was able, he was on pace to have his best season to date, even with last year's explosion of him throwing 30 touchdowns and almost throwing for 5,000 passing yards. You know, I do believe that Kellen Moore is the last guy you want to kick out the door, because given the circumstances. I understand that there have been things that have happened now. Like, well, you don't have the main guy there, and I'm not trying to excuse any bad play calling, because there are moments where I'm like, why the hell are you running this play? But there are moments like the Minnesota game where there were some play calls that I really did like. So I wanted to be emphatically clear that I do think that there are some positives on the offensive side of the ball. Going over to the defensive side of the ball where it all goes downhill, I do think Mike Nolan needs to go. I think that, look, I don't care if you want to run a 3-4 defense or a 4-3, you just got to make up your mind. Because I think Mike Nolan, I should say, because there's so many Mikes. Mike Nolan is trying to run a 3-4. I think that's evident. My problem is that he is trying to do it, but at the same time, he doesn't have the players to run the scheme, but also, more importantly, a good defensive coordinator would know, hey, I want to run a 3-4, but I don't have the personnel yet, so maybe I should try to do the 4-3 for now. Like, it's just crazy to me how bad this defense has been, given the circumstance. Now, again, we could say, like, hey, the players aren't as good as we think they are. That's a possibility, too. And I would say that some players are not as good as I think that we thought they were, right? So there's that. But let's think about it this way. I do think that we need to bring someone in here, or hell, maybe he's already, I don't know, but Dallas needs a new defensive coordinator that, I don't know what they're going to do. I honestly don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to keep Mike Nolan. If I'm going to be completely honest, I would be shocked if Mike Nolan, I wouldn't be shocked if he got fired, but the reason I'd be shocked if he didn't get fired, I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't get fired, is because usually the Cowboys just, it's just 1 year, you know what I mean? And I think that's another thing we have to point out. This is the first year for Mike McCarthy. It's the awkward year, and again, I'm not trying to excuse that, because there are teams like the Browns that have a new coaching staff that are 9-3 right now. Look, I'm not trying to sit here and create excuses for Mike McCarthy, because he has, he's had a rough hand this go around for this year, but I do think that year 2 is going to be the most telling, especially when everyone comes back fully healthy, because if we continue to struggle as a team next year, even if we don't have this horrific let's just say we go, I don't know, 6-10. Let's say it's bad like that. If this team struggles again and has another losing record, that's a problem for me. And I think that at that point I'd be calling for Mike McCarthy's head. Now, who knows? The future, I don't know. But I wanted to mention this situation that happened with Mike McCarthy talking about an effort issue with the team, and I do agree there is an effort issue with this team, and Jalen Smith responding to it, because Jalen has been continuously pissing me off as this season has gone on with his play on the football field, and I want to and I'll elaborate on why I've been kind of hard on Jalen, and you probably will know why, but let's see. So Mike McCarthy said on the following, we don't have an effort issue, McCarthy said back when his team was 1-3. You've got to be really careful when you start challenging professional athletes about effort. That's what he said. That was early on in the season. But here we are at 3-9, and Mike McCarthy said, I believe this was Wednesday, yes, our finish was not good enough, clearly. We didn't finish very well, that's for sure. And then, so I agree with Mike there. I do agree with Coach McCarthy there in the sense of there's an effort issue. And we could see it. You can look at Leighton not doing good. You could see a Jalen not doing good. Your corners, the whole team, especially on defense, and you can say on offense as well, there's an effort issue. I understand that. There's only so much you can do when it comes to the coaching staff. And it's always there's also the argument of, if the coaches were good enough, we wouldn't have this issue, and I can understand that. But you have situations where you might have a guy like Bill Belichick, for example, who is a fantastic, greatest head coach in NFL history, in my opinion, and he's this brilliant mind, but you see him struggling this year. You know, is it his fault? No, and I say no because he just doesn't have the adequate players to really, you know, and he's 6-7 given the circumstances. So let's just put that into perspective. But here's the thing. Jalen Smith said it's unacceptable. I don't think the head coach should be having to come talk to us about effort at the end of the game. If there is a play where you could have gave more effort and have to hold yourself accountable to that, and that goes for the player. It goes for all the players on the squad, including myself, and the same for coaches. Now, I understand what he's trying to say here, but Jalen, my man, you have not looked good this entire year, okay? I hate to break it to you, man, but that contract they gave you was a mistake. And the reason back, you know, the previous year when they gave him the extension, I was excited about it, was because we were coming off a year where Jalen broke out as this great defensive player. We're like, oh, wow, okay, this guy's good. And then his play began to regress last year. And here we are now. And again, I don't know what the hell's going to happen with him, but I don't think he's going anywhere. That's number one. But number two is that I feel like he has... Look, he's a fantastic character, great guy. You know, I believe he's our team's nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. And listen, don't criticize the character of this guy. He's a fantastic human being. He's a great dude, very nice. Like, I could go on. If we're talking about his football, like, on the field stuff, it looks like the dude is more brand over football. You know, and I said this about Antoine Woods when he was doing the Hot Boys crap, and whenever they do that crap, my thing is don't give yourself... I don't believe in the whole nickname stuff until you prove yourself. You know what I mean? Legion of Boom, for example. They proved themselves. They earned that nickname. You know what I mean? I don't understand how... And it's the country club mentality with the Cowboys. I don't want to go on forever, but I do think that Dallas as a whole, as of right now, has this country club feel to them as an organization, to where they don't care about winning. All they care about is being the richest, having the best stuff. And I'm not saying I'm coming onto this now. I've known about this. And it's just, we talk about, me and other YouTubers, we come and talk about what we feel the team should do. We do, like, listen, I buy, you know, stuff like this. I buy, you know, merch, everything, on occasion, because I love this team, and and as fans, we do that. And when we come on, you know, whether it be you or, you know, we come on here on YouTube or wherever, we talk about the Cowboys because we love this team. And they have not done a lot of winning in terms of winning championships, getting to a conference championship, or hell, whatever. They haven't done that in we're going on over 30 years now. So if I'm the Cowboys, this is going to be the most important offseason, given the circumstances of you still haven't paid your quarterback yet. You're going to have a top 3 pick probably if you don't beat Cincinnati. I don't know what's going to happen, man. I really don't. So I didn't want to go on for over 20 minutes, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Make sure to remember, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Alright guys, have a good one.